Hey everybody, it's Kristen joining you for a live video today. I'm going to be talking all about self-doubt, and I said that this is the number one thing that holds people back. And truly all new coaches that I talk to, when they fill out the form and before I talk to them, like self-doubt I think is on everybody's everybody's form, like it comes up for everyone. So it's a huge thing. So if you pop on, say hi. I'm gonna just wait a few seconds for some people to get on, and then I'll go ahead and get started. I see some of you guys getting on, so I'm excited to have you here. And if you want to say hello, I love to say who's on. Amy, thank you for the heart. I saw that. So I'm going to be talking about self-doubt. I'm going to be talking about how it shows up for us, how it can hold us back. And sometimes it's kind of sneaky, like we don't even realize that it's self-doubt. Hey, Amy. And what we can do, because actually self-doubt can be, it can be actually something that we can use to really help us move forward. So I want to talk about how we can do that, how we can change our perspective around it. Brittany tuning in from work. I love it. So naughty. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of dive into some things about self-doubt, and really starting with, what is self-doubt? Like, how does it show up for us? And truly, starting a business is probably the number one thing that is going to set off your self-doubt. Like it, Brittany says it's dead at work. Yeah, that's good. That means you're meant to join us. But self-doubt, it's I can't remember where I was going with that, but it's the little voice that lives in our head. And it's with us all the time. And we all have it. So it's not, some people have self-doubt and other people don't. Like it's there for everyone. And I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with the book, Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, I think it is. But he talks about the little voice that lives in your head, and it's always talking. Like it never shuts up. It's just blah, 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 blah. And that's really what self-doubt is. It's that little voice in your head talking nonstop that will not shut up. And so the thing is, like, our ego, or that voice that lives in our head, what it wants is us to stay the same, because it thinks that same equals safe. So it knows, like, right now where we are, we're alive, we're breathing, we're doing okay. And so it thinks that anytime that you do something different, that you're putting yourself at a potential risk for something bad happening. And so that little voice in your head is going to go crazy anytime you start doing something new. That's especially when it's going to go crazy, especially something that is, that can be potentially scary and is a little bit scary for everyone, like starting a business, because there's a lot that goes on to actually making that happen. And most of us have never done it before. So there's just a lot of new things to learn. So that little inner critic, that self-doubt voice is going to go crazy when you decide, like, yeah, this is something that I want to do. And Jennifer's saying it's your inner child inside, the 5-year-old with crayons. Yeah, it's that little kid that's like, no, don't do it. Stay the same. You're fine. You're safe. And what does this voice usually say to us? Because what its goal is to stop us from doing anything different. So it's going to say things like, you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you don't know enough, nobody likes you, you don't have anything good to say, you're not smart enough, you're not good at running a business, look at all those other people, they know way more than you, they've been doing this longer than you, all those different things. That's what that little voice is going to start saying to you. And the reason it's saying this is because it's trying to stop you from moving forward. And for a lot of us, that voice is hitting on some of our biggest triggers and our biggest fears. And so it's really pretty effective at stopping a lot of us from moving forward, because we start to believe that voice and we're like, oh my gosh, what if it's right? What if I'm not good enough? What if I don't know enough? What if people don't like me or don't like what I'm saying? And so for a lot of us, that can be enough to really make us question ourselves and stop us in our tracks. So the ways that this shows up for a lot of us, number one is procrastination and getting distracted. So when we start to doubt ourselves and when we start to think, oh, I'm not, good enough, or maybe I don't have something good to offer, or I need more training, a lot of times we will procrastinate putting ourselves out there in our business, either by saying that we have to go and get more training first, or we have to learn more, we have to get more certifications, we have to perfect our website, whatever it is, they're really forms of hiding. So keeping us small, keeping us from getting out there in front of people, keeping us from potential criticism from other people. Jennifer's saying on target today, even though I talked on mindset. Oh, I missed the rest. It goes by so fast, I can't see the comments. But yeah, that little voice, often what it does is it will keep us hiding. And so what happens is we have two choices. So we can either decide to listen to all these excuses that are coming up as to why we should not start our business or why we won't be successful at it. Or we can listen to our heart, which is guiding us to the reasons why we should start our business and what all the possibilities are if we do that and we go ahead and give ourselves permission to go after that. And so instead of getting so caught up in the negative and in that the ego mind, all those little voices that are going up, like we can listen to either side, and we all have both sides. So it's just deciding which one you're giving more attention to. So you can decide to give more attention to all the reasons why you should not do something, or you might not be successful, or you might not be good at it, or you can give your attention to all the reasons that you will be successful and that you are good at what, at coaching, and, what you have going for you. And all the good things that can happen when you do go after your dreams and you do what you really want to be doing, like all those benefits. So just deciding like which one you want to put your focus and your attention on can really make all the difference. And as you know, this is kind of a saying, but the things that you put your attention on, those are the things that grow, that prosper, that, really do well. So deciding which one you want to put your attention on is huge. So how does this hold us back then? So for a lot of the people that I work with, and for me, myself, I know this was like a big kind of recurring theme in my life, is that I knew I was capable of a lot more than what I was doing. And I felt this drive, like I'm meant to be doing like all these big, amazing things and living this life that's really cool and fun. And I felt like I was really holding myself back, or like I was sabotaging myself. Amy said she can't stay tuned in. Okay, awesome, Amy. You can watch the replay. So, but let me know if you can relate to this at all, as far as like feeling like you're capable, like you have such potential, or you want to be doing like all these big things, but you're holding yourself back in some way, and you just like don't know how to break free from that. And I heard one client of mine say this, she feels like she's being the little kitten, and she has like this lion in her that's like waiting to get out, and she doesn't know how to release that. And so for a lot of us, like, I think that's kind of how we feel, is like we have all this potential inside of us, but we're really holding ourselves back, and we don't know how to let that out, or let it go. And so I think that's so true. And for all of us, like, we're capable of so much. And we really, the only thing that holds us back is that little voice. It's like the number one thing. And that's why mindset is so, so, so important, and recognizing these things when they happen. So I want to talk about some of the ways that this has really shown up in my life, because I think it helps illustrate the next point that I want to talk about, which is our areas that are self-doubt. Amy says she likes the analogy. Awesome. Good. I'm glad I gave a good one. And that was from one of my clients. So thank you to her. So what I like to see self-doubt as really is when we have fears or self-doubt, what it is it's actually a doorway for transformation as opposed to a block. So we can kind of see it as either way. Like sometimes we're like, oh, this is a block and I can't go there. But instead of we look at it as when we have these fears really coming up or these areas where we really doubt ourselves a lot, that is a potential area for transformation for us and truly something that we should be looking at, because if we do, there's a lot of potential for growth there and for changing our life. So I like to say, like, get curious about it. Like when you have this fear that keeps like popping up over and over and over again, like get curious about that. Like, what is that really about? And I think it's just helpful to even write these fears down. So the ones that come up for you the most, to like write them down. So instead of them just kind of being in your head and being like abstract, but not really being recognized, actually writing them down. And truly that's why coaching is actually so powerful, because a lot of us go through our life having these fears run our lives, but we never actually like talk out these fears or actually like put a name to them or put them down on paper or acknowledge them. And so they just unconsciously keep running our decisions in our lives. So when you can see, okay, what are these fears? Where are these places that I feel like I'm doubting myself? Then those can become huge doorways for transformation. So I find that really, really helpful. And so, let me know too, like, is that something that you find for you too? Like when these areas of self-doubt come up for you, do you find that you usually like want to run away from them? Or are you able to ever like look at them and say like, okay, like this, I want to look at this. I want to see what's going on. Like, why does this fear keep popping up for me? So I want to talk about a few things that have been like monumental in my own life as far as self-doubt and fears, and being able to learn from them and having that change my life in a huge way, because I think it can be helpful to get some examples. So number one was that I have a huge, long-standing, I would say, journey or feeling of being inferior to other people. And this is something I hear from my clients a lot as well, but this was huge for me, like huge, huge, huge. And I truly think it's a big part of the reason why I ended up developing an eating disorder, because I was trying to make up for what I saw as not being good enough and my faults and, maybe not standing out to people. And Jennifer is saying she's kept a low profile all day because of self-doubt. Yeah, it definitely happens. And so for me, like this feeling of inferiority was like huge, and it ran my life. I mean, anyone I would meet or get in front of, like all this, I always put myself under that person in some way. Like I felt I was inferior than them, like everyone I met. And I don't really know, like, I think part of it actually was being, and I talk about this too, but part of it was being, like introverted. And some of it, I think, stemmed around that, like not feeling seen and heard, especially in big groups of people. Amy's saying when she confronts the fears, it's awesome and way better than getting paralyzed by the fears. Yeah, definitely. So, as far as the inferiority went, it truly, starting my business was a huge, huge turning point in allowing me to get through that. And I think it's because when I started my business, I decided that I was no longer going to try to be somebody else. I was no longer looking at other people to see what I had to be doing to be successful. And I wasn't going to play by the rules anymore and do what was expected, or what was the right thing to do. And for me, then that just allowed me to be myself and to, be and do and whatever I wanted, and stop trying to, I think, be somebody else or try to fit into some other mold or, a lot of times that happens to us, like we're trying to be someone who's acceptable. And so, authenticity was huge. And that just allowed me to be myself and be okay with that. And a lot of that started with starting my business. And so that was like a huge, doorway for me to go through and to see like, so much to learn through that as far as being myself. And that has changed, my life, my business, like everything. And now like I'm just so much more confident in just being me, and I don't feel inferior than people anymore. I see other people and I see maybe where they are in their business or things they're doing in their life, and I'm like, that's so cool, it's inspiring. But now I see it as like, I want that for myself, and it's something that's possible for me, as opposed to being like, oh, they're so much better than me, like that, I could never make that happen, that type of thinking. So it changes that. So another big one that I want to talk about is being scared of doing videos and being seen in that way, and like truly being seen. And obviously I'm doing a video right now and it's not scary for me anymore, but they were very, very scary for me when I was getting started. And I think part of it was just like saying the wrong thing, or, just kind of like that confidence piece. But as I went through that doorway, and this was like a huge doorway for me, it was like something that I felt very called to do, but I was very scared of doing it. But going through that and actually doing it has really changed things for me, because I've gotten way more confident through that process as well. So like now if I got invited to go and give a talk somewhere or something, like I feel like it would be relatively easy for me at this point, because I've just gotten good at doing it. And the other thing is, going through that doorway of doing the videos has made such a huge difference in my business. So like I said, it was something that I felt really called to do, but I also felt really scared of doing it. So I think a lot of times, the things that we're most afraid of, they're there for a reason. They're there for us to look at and to go through, because there is such awesomeness on the other side of doing it. And sometimes that's actually leading us to where we're meant to be going. So instead of running away from those fears, facing them, getting curious, and being willing to go through that doorway. And then one other thing that I want to talk about that was a big one for me too was, I took some notes so I can remember, but this fear around really being able to make my own money. So I know for any of us that we can go and we can get a job, and all of us could go and get a job and work for someone else and get paid a salary. Like that's something we could all do, right? Like it's, anyone can do that. But if you're feeling called to start a business and like make your own money in that way, do your own thing, like do work you're super passionate about, I think it's not something that you can ignore. And I think there's really something there to look at. And especially if that's like a fear for you too, like, I think it is for all of us, but through actually going through and doing it, I have learned like so much, and just seeing like what is capable for all of us as far as abundance and being able to make our own money, and not having to rely on someone else to be giving us the money, through a paycheck, so that we can do the work that we're really passionate about. And there's nothing wrong with working for a paycheck either. Like, that's fine as well. But if you feel this real call to be starting a business and be your own boss and have that freedom and flexibility, I think it's something that's really important to us. And by going through that door and actually seeing like, yeah, I can make my own money. Like, yeah, I can do this. Like, there's such huge learning through that, and such just transformation that comes. And it's so, so rewarding to be able to do that on your own and see that you're capable of doing that. So let me know if that's been a big one for any of you guys. But I know for a lot of entrepreneurs, when they're getting started, like that's kind of a huge one. It's just like a huge mind shift to go from having worked for someone else and getting a paycheck to actually being the one who's responsible for making the money yourself. And it's so cool. Like I love it. But it's just a big switch for a lot of us when we're getting started. So I want to talk about just like some big things that I think are really helpful as far as helping with self-doubt. And you've gotten some of them along the way from my stories and just I was talking about before. But So Allie was saying, until she started my program or working with me, she was having huge doubts about if she could be her own boss. And now she knows she can do it. Yes, I'm so excited. I know you can do it too, like 100%. And so that's the thing, like, and I'm going to be getting to that. But so number one, to help with self-doubt, getting clear on your vision. So what is it that you really want? Like, what do you want for your business? What do you want it to look like? How is it going to change your life? How much money do you want to be making? I can't even tell you how many people I ask, how much money do you want to be making in your coaching business per month? People don't know. You're like, I haven't even thought about that before. Or they give me like this really, really low number. And I'm like, come on, you can do better than that. So the thing is, like, there's so much that's possible for you. And it doesn't mean that you have to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start and I want to be making, like $10,000 a month in my coaching business. Like, that's 100% possible for you. Yes. But if you feel like for you right now that feels like an unrealistic number or goal, like, I'm not saying you have to put that out there, but no, like, you don't have to sell yourself short. Like, if you want to be making a certain amount of money in your business and maybe it is $10,000 per month, like, that is possible for you. Like, yes, you can do it. And part of it's looking at, like, what is your vision for your life and what you want to be doing. And a lot of people tell me, I want to be traveling, I want to be able to go to the grocery store and buy, organic food and buy whatever I want. I don't want to have to, like, sit in the grocery store being like, can I buy this, food that can I really splurge on the organic raspberries and the organic strawberries that I really want? Or is that going to be too much? That sucks to feel like that. And I remember, like, spending way too long in the grocery store debating whether I could spend the money on the things I really wanted to. And it sucked. Like, so it's so much better to just have enough money to be, spending it on the things that you want to be and to be able to live the life you want. So get clear on your vision as far as what you really want. Brittany says, are you talking about me? I'm not, Brittany. Like, I hear it all the time. So these are things that I hear from everyone. So this is the thing. Like, I want everyone to know you're not alone in feeling this way, or the things that you say, or the way that we're thinking, because everyone is the same. Like, I hear these things from everyone. Like, we all have the same fears, the same doubts, the same things that we get stuck in, for sure. So know that because we're all the same as far as the things that we get stuck in and the things that we struggle with, it means that we're all capable of the same success as well. So if you see people, like, doing these amazing things and you're like, that's so awesome, I want that, you're capable of doing that as well. So we all have the same fears. We all have the same capabilities of success, or, accomplishing the things we want as well, which is really cool when you think about it that way. So number one, getting clear on your vision. Number two, being authentic in everything you do. Just being yourself, knowing you're good enough, letting that inferiority crap go. Just be willing to be yourself. Don't try to, like, fit into some mold of someone that you think you should be. I can't even tell you, like, how happy I was when I stopped working a job where I felt like I had to wear clothes that were, like, not me. Like, I had to dress up to go to a job, and I was like, I literally, like, I want to say I burned my clothes, but really I donated them. Like, all my work clothes, like all my collared shirts and stuff, is like, I never want to see any of this stuff again because I felt so weird wearing it. So, just being able to be yourself and be authentic, that really helps with that self-doubt too. Because I think a lot of times, like, where that self-doubt really pops up is when we're trying to be someone other than ourselves. And I spent so much time in my life doing that. Like, even when I was getting started, like, in my chiropractic business and stuff, like, I was working under other doctors, and I was like, oh, I have to be like this person in order to be successful, and, like, follow in their footsteps and do what they're doing. And that didn't work for me. Like, I wanted to be doing different things. I believed in different things. I had a different personality. And so a lot of times I felt inferior than, like, all these other doctors that I, like, would work under, because it just wasn't what I wanted to be doing, and that wasn't who I was. And I was trying to be, follow in someone else's footsteps instead of just making my own path. We all have our own paths. So that's huge as well. And then this is the biggest one, taking action. So taking action towards what it is that you want. This is where you bust through that self-doubt. The only way that we get through self-doubt is through taking action. And that's the biggest way we get through it. And even if you take action and it doesn't get you exactly where you want to be going, or you make mistakes along the way, or you fail, like it gets you moving. And actually, I want to give you a little story about that too. So this last year, a lot of you guys who've been following me, like I was living out in Colorado. I was in a relationship that wasn't so good. It had a huge impact on my business, and I started really, like, my business started going really downhill. And so these were all choices I made, all decisions, like to get in the relationship, like all this stuff. And through going through that, I have learned so much, and I have come out the other side better, stronger, more confident, making way more money, being way more successful in my business, having gone through this path that wasn't necessarily where I wanted to be going, and kind of led me on this, crazy little journey that was, not ideal, but through going through that, I have learned so much. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid of possible failures or kind of, little detours along the way, because as long as you're willing to learn through those, you can come out the other side stronger, better, so much wiser. So it's really through a lot of our struggles that we learn the very most. So don't avoid all of those. Like, be willing to go into them and see what's there for you, what lessons. And we learn so much through experiencing what we don't want, as far as helping us get clear on what we do want. So I think that this is like an absolutely essential part of the process. And a lot of us just like really hold ourselves back from ever making a mistake, from ever, possibly failing or doing something that we might be criticized on, or that people might think, oh, she's not good enough, those types of things. And so we never take that action. And we just stay stuck, stagnant in the exact same spot, instead of, moving towards the things that are possible for us. So just take action, be okay with making mistakes, be okay with being imperfect, because that is really how all the good growth and transformation comes. It really does. Amy says you can always make a new plan, for sure. And that's the thing, even just like with our vision and stuff, like your vision keeps changing, your plans can keep changing, it's all about like going in the general direction that you want to be going. And there's going to be detours along the way, but as long as you keep moving towards those things you want, you're going to be moving. It feels good to be moving towards those things you want, even if you're hitting like road bumps along the way, or if you have failures, like at least you're going towards the things you want, instead of staying stuck going towards the things you don't want, or going down that path just because it's too scary to go down the other path. Or what if you don't make enough money? What if you invest and then, don't make the money back, whatever. Like, I would much rather take some chances and go down the path of my dreams than go down a path of the life I don't want to be living and know that that path is, safe and I won't make any mistakes. Like, it's so boring. And I mean, I don't want to say you're wasting your life, but you're wasting, you could be doing the things you really want to be doing, and you're holding yourself stuck. And I think for me, it wasn't an option. So, but it depends on what you want. So open-mindedness and willingness to adapt to change. Allie's saying, yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah, being willing to change. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Being willing to change, being willing to make mistakes, like, that's what it's all about. And that's really the pathway to getting through your self-doubt, getting through those fears, and going towards the things you really want. So we all have them. We all have a lot of the same ones. I hear the same ones from everyone. I've had them as well. People who are making millions of dollars, have the same doubts as well. And it's just whether we let those stop us, or we see them as doorways of transformation that we can go through and, get to the other side and see what's on that other side. So it's all about giving yourself that permission to do that. So that's what I had for you today. So let me know if anyone has any questions about that, anything you want to add in. But that was what I want to tell you about self-doubt, because it's such a big thing for all of us. It has been for me too. And I just want to let you know, like, you're not alone in it. We all have it. It doesn't have to stop you. Those are the ways that it kind of shows up for us in tricky little ways. But it really doesn't have to stop you at all. So look at it for an opportunity to, learn from it and see going through that little doorway and seeing what's on the other side, as opposed to it being big and scary and running the opposite way. So if you do that, like, I promise amazing things will happen 100%. Like, our fears are always guiding us to where we're meant to be going. And it's so awesome how it works when you start just looking at it this way. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. So if there's no questions, that's awesome. If you catch the replay, let me know. If you feel like you're getting stuck in self-doubt and it's totally stopping you from moving forward with your business, I'll put a link in the comments. Like, set up a call with me. It's a zero obligation call. It's a free call. I'm happy to talk with you. I'm happy to see where you're getting stuck, and guide you in the right direction. Because I just want everyone to be successful and do what you want to be doing and live the life you want to be doing. And there's people out there like waiting for you to help them. I promise you that. There isn't too many health coaches out there. There isn't too much competition. That's all the self-doubt stuff talking as well. There's so many people in the world that are sick, that are, have depression, anxiety, like all these different things. And you guys have awesome tools, so much power to help these people. So, don't let these self-doubts stop you from putting your work out there. There's more than enough opportunity as far as you to be able to get clients and make the income that you want to be making in your business. So if you want to be doing that, but you're feeling stuck, sign up for a call with me. Let's get you moving on forward, because that's my biggest goal, is to help all you guys do that. So thank you everyone for joining me today. I love this topic, and I'm wishing all of you guys the very best, and I will talk with all you guys soon. Bye.